Now, I want to show you two things and ask you a question. The first thing I think you can see very easily. Isn't that a big bit of wood? A big plank or whatever of wood, isn't it? I had to put it into the car and bring it up to the pulpit, and it's very long, isn't it? You'd say it's a big bit of wood. Now, I want to show you something else that's very different. I hope you can see it. I hope I don't lose it here. Look. Is that a big bit of wood?
No, it's a tiny bit.
Isn't that a tiny bit of wood? People far away can't probably see it. It's so tiny. You need very good eyesight. I think if I took off, I could still see it without my glasses. But it's very, very tiny, isn't it? And this is a very big bit of wood. See the difference?
Tiny.
Isn't that tiny? And that's really big. Now I want to read you a verse from the Bible that says this. It says, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye?" Matthew chapter 7 and verse 3. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust, but like this, only be even smaller than that, and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? Imagine, I hope this wouldn't happen to you, but imagine you had this little thing in your eye, and I had this big plank in my eye, and I said to you, "Oh, you've got a speck in your eye," and I tried to take it out while I had a big plank in my own eye. That wouldn't be very sensible, wouldn't it? That'd be very foolish of me to try and take a tiny thing out of your eye while all the time I had this big plank in my own eye. What does Jesus mean when he says, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye?" Well, he means this, that we can be very, very quick to see the wrong things that other people do and to be judging them for it, and not to see the wrong things that we're doing ourselves. It's easy to spot the wrongdoing of others than to spot our own wrongdoing. Let me try to give you a picture of this maybe. Maybe sometime you're in the house and you've got this great big bar, of chocolate, bars of chocolate. You've got big bars of chocolate, and you see your friend and they're chewing away at the chocolate and their face is just got a tiny speck on it. They've got a tiny speck maybe of chocolate on their nose afterwards, and you can see that, and you say, "Oh, look at the tiny speck of chocolate on your nose." But then they say to you, and you haven't looked at yourself, and actually all over your face there's chocolate. It's got all over it, but you haven't seen it. You've only been able to see the tiny speck of chocolate on your friend's nose, and you don't realize, oh, on my own face there's lots and lots of chocolate. And you see sometimes, let me try to give you another example. Maybe sometimes you go to your mummy or your daddy and say, "My sister or my brother or my friend, they've been nasty to me. They said something nasty, something bad to me." And maybe what you don't tell your mummy or daddy is that you first said something bad to them, or you were first nasty to them. Maybe you only tell your mummy or daddy about what they did, and maybe you said something even worse, something nastier to them. So what God's word is saying, what Jesus is saying is, let's be very, very careful not to be looking at and pointing out and noticing and judging the faults of our friends and not seeing the faults of others. And one good prayer that we can pray is, "Lord, show me the sins and the faults and the wrong things I am doing." That's what we should be praying. And God will judge fairly everyone. So here's the verse. Why do you look, here it is, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be so quick to spot the faults of others while failing to see the big faults and the sins in our own lives. Wise words from Jesus. And here's something to colour in now. There it is, Matthew chapter 7 and verse 3. And this time we're singing from Psalm number 43. Psalm number 43, and all of this psalm, the tune is Consolation number 66. Consolation number 66. And here we see what the psalmist is asking the Lord to do. "Judge me, O God, and plead my cause against a godless land, And now deliver me from the unjust, deceitful man. In this world, the people of God are often treated unfairly and unjustly. That's what the psalmist was experiencing, and was actually making him feel very depressed. He says later on that he's downcast in spirit. But then he also can call upon the Lord, whom he knows to be the God of justice, the judge of all the earth, who will do right. And he can plead with the Lord. He can plead his cause before the Lord. Psalm number 43 then, all of this portion to tune consolation, number 66. Let's stand and sing praise to our God.